I know what you're thinking right now. Weren't you supposed to review 3 different game series in a loop? What happened? Yes, I was planning to do that, but as I experienced some things, I realized that it is actually an impractical idea. Currently, the game I should be reviewing is Assassin's Creed 2, but I'm having a hard time writing its script. The reason is that I'm not currently in the reviewing mode for that game, so the system I mentioned a few videos ago, where I will review the games in the order I want instead of following a set loop, is no longer in place. Instead of using that system, I want to review the games in the series whenever I feel like it. I will still review Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed and the Grand Theft Auto series, but the videos for the game I want to review at the moment will be the one that comes out. Working with discipline is something inherent in me, but this channel is more of a hobby for me rather than a professional job, and if it becomes a full-time job in the future, then I will consider working with discipline for these reviews. For now, knowing that the reviews for the game I want will come out whenever I want should be enough for you. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, besides marking a new era for the series, is a game that closes and opens a new chapter for the entire gaming industry. Do you remember my statement in the Call of Duty 2 review? During the 2005 release period of the game, World War II games typically didn't tell a story. They focused more on creating an atmosphere to captivate players. This was also true for the first game. However, Infinity Ward attempted to tell a story and narrative in Call of Duty 2. The Infinity Ward team has indeed decided to tell a story in this game, and they have achieved this with script animations, solid dialogues, intriguing characters and excellent level design. Let's delve into the story of the game. The year is 2011, and in the current chaotic Middle East, the leader of the unnamed country, presumably the game's version of Saudi Arabia, al-Fulani, is assassinated live on air by the leader of the country's ultranationalist group, Khaled al-Assad. Additionally, in Russia there is a civil war with extreme nationalists on one side led by Imran Zakayev. Our role in this story is to try to eliminate these two criminal leaders terrorizing the world by joining the United States Marine Force Recon and the British SAS forces. Without offending my American friends, in short, America once again takes on the role of the world's police and launches attacks here and there. However, the events throughout the story are so well written and executed that one falls in love with the narrative of this game. Released in 2007 and is probably played by everyone, even though I feel it is silly to issue a spoiler warning for this game. Those who want to skip spoilers, please jump to the time displayed on the screen. At the end of the Marine Force missions, the American team is bombed with a nuclear bomb. And later, Captain Price goes mad, traveling from country to country to shoot these two terrorist leaders in the head. This makes Captain Price one of my favorite game characters. Captain Price is a character in the style of chaotic good. I think there is nothing he wouldn't do for public safety with his ethical understanding. Talking about characters, in the sections where we play as the British SAS forces, we see Gaz and Captain Price by our side. Gaz is fitting for the role of the second in command. If I didn't know he was British, he would look like a Texan, somewhat resembling Captain Price but not as badass. Captain Price, on the other hand, has reached the epitome of badassery and is one of my favorite game characters. He is the leader of the SAS unit. The character we will get to know better in the sequel, Modern Warfare 2, is Soap. Soap is a classic character in these FPS games, without a face or voice for the character we play. The only memorable character in the Marine Force is Lieutenant Vasquez. He is the leader of the Marine Force, but he fades next to Captain Price and therefore remains in the shadows. There is no reason for him to stand out. Looking at the gameplay, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is an FPS. It doesn't surpass the previous games in the series as a pure FPS. There are modern assault rifles with grenade launchers. Some rifles have electronic devices used for aiming instead of iron sights. However, I felt that most of these weapons gave the impression of being a single version. Yes, there are versions of the weapons with grenade launchers, but they mostly feel like a single type. For example, there is no AK-47 with a holographic sight in the game, therefore it gives a feeling of uniformity. While modern weapons feel good compared to the previous games in the series, the shooting feel is average. Neither good nor bad. But if you ask me, the levels are so brilliantly designed. Aside from the magnificence of the main story levels, the famous level where Captain Price narrates his special operation in Pripyat during his youth is one of the best levels in history in my opinion. Let's talk about the graphics. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare has a somewhat outdated look in my opinion. Although the graphics are quite good for its time, I don't like the game's graphics when I look back at it today. Do not think I'm comparing it to modern games. I'm saying that the graphics of the game are not aesthetically pleasing. However, they are not extremely bad either. They have an average level of graphics. Let's talk about sound and music. The game's sound are as they should be. Gun sound and ambient sound are not bad. However, character voiceovers are quite powerful. Billy Murray's voice acting for Captain Price takes the character to a different level. The music is fantastic. I have always found Call of Duty 4's music extraordinary. Although it takes some horror music influences, I generally find it very successful. Pinned Down is the most successful piece among them. Before finishing, I want to tell you a theory of mine, but it contains spoilers. In fact, it not only contains spoilers for this game, but also for Modern Warfare 2. Therefore, if you want to skip the spoilers, please jump to the minute written on the screen. Right after the section where the marine unit is bombed with a nuclear weapon, you know the intermediate section where the character we control walks around the bombed battlefield for a while and then dies. Do you remember how our character died in that section? Instead of character's eyes going black, a white screen appeared. In the last section where we fall into the hands of Zakaya with the SS team and Griggs, we've witnessed our team dying one by one. The shooting of Gaz and Griggs is already a definite sign for their deaths. When a character dies in the game, the name tag we see above them disappears. What I want to convey is that, in fact, the entire team dies at the end of the game, including Price and Soap. When the Russian military loyalist performs CPR on Price and even punches his chest, Price's name tag is not visible. This is a sign that he is dead. Soap, when being pulled into the helicopter, has a white screen, just like in the nuclear bomb section. We know that Price and Soap are seen in the subsequent games of the series, so we know they didn't die. However, what the development team reflected in the game as the ending is actually the death of the entire team. But when the game became very popular, and probably when Activision pressured for a sequel, they brought back Price and Soap. After all, we had not definitely seen the death of Price and Soap. In conclusion, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is not a bad game at all. I don't think it is a masterpiece, but it is a very successful start for the Modern Warfare trilogy. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like my video to stay updated on future reviews. See you soon.